Welcome back to Bahamian Mathematics. Please subscribe, like, and share to see more videos like this one. In today's video, we will calculate the area of a rectangle. Here's a rectangle. The formula that we will use is area equals length times width. Let's take a look. First, let's do an activity. We have one large orange square in the center of the screen, and we have smaller blue squares off to the left. Let's see how many small squares it takes to cover the large square. There's 1. There's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. It takes 9 squares to cover the large square. Let's do another activity. We have a different rectangle now in the middle of the screen, and we're going to see how many small blue squares it takes to cover that up. So how many small squares does it take to cover the rectangle? Can you take a guess? Let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did you say 6? That's correct. 6 squares. It takes 6 squares to cover the rectangle. This is known as the area of the rectangle. The number of squares it takes to cover up a flat surface is known as the area. This is 6 square units that it takes to cover up the rectangle. And so the number of squares it takes to cover up a flat shape we will call the area. Let's look at the number of squares it takes to cover up a flat shape. In this square, there were 9 square units. In this rectangle, there were 6 square units. So let's take a look at this square again. It took 9 square units to cover it up, and in this rectangle, it took 6 square units to cover it up. If we count the units that make up the length in both of these shapes, we will see that the length in the first shape is 1, 2, 3 units. And the length in the second shape is 1, 2, 3 units. And now let's count the width. The width in the first shape is 1, 2, 3 units. The width in the second shape is 1, 2 units. So what can we do with these numbers that we have counted? Well, if we multiply 3 units in the length by 3 units in the width, we get 9. In the second shape, if we multiply 3 units in the length by 2 units in the width, we get 6. And that is the number of square units in each one of the shapes. So the formula we've discovered is the area of a rectangle or a square, like this one, is length multiplied by the width. If the length were 5 centimeters in this rectangle, and the width were 3 centimeters, when we multiply 5 by 3, we get 15 centimeters, but we have to place a small 2 a little above, which means square units. This is very important because area is always stated in square units, not just the unit by itself. And if we take a look, if we place squares one by one on top of the shape, we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 square units it takes to cover up the shape. So the area is 15 centimeters squared. The little 2 means square units. So let's calculate the area of this rectangle. It has a width of 7 feet and it has a length of 12 feet. We usually denote the shorter side of a rectangle as its width and the longest side as its length. So the length in this case multiplied by the width, the length is 12 multiplied by 7. But what would happen if we multiplied 7 by 12? If we said the length were 7 and the width was 12, we would still get the same answer, 84 feet squared. Don't forget the small 2 above, which means square units. So this is read as 84 square feet. Let's look at another one. This looks like a square, and it is 11 kilometers each side. The area of a rectangle or a square, length times width. The length we know is 11. but it doesn't give the width. But we know that a square has all sides the same length. And so if the length is 11, the width is 11. Another formula for calculating the area of a square is side squared. Sometimes you may see it as s squared. All it means is you take the side and you square it, which means you multiply it by itself. So 11 squared is 11 times 11, and our answer is 121 kilometers squared. Remember, the little 2 means squared units. You have to have this in your answer in order for it to be correct. Area is always given in square units. So this is read as 121 square kilometers. So let's practice using length times width. This rectangle has a length of 10 millimeters and a width of 3 millimeters. According to our formula, length times width, 10 times 3 equals 30 millimeters squared. Second one, this rectangle has a width of 4 inches and a length of 5 inches. So we use the formula 5 times 4 equals 20 inches squared. And the last one, here's a square. Each side is 4 centimeters. And so we can say 4 times 4 equals, or we can use side squared, which is 4 squared, which will give us the same answer, 16 centimeters squared. And now it's quiz time. Find the area of the following rectangle. You have 5 seconds. Time's up. The answer is 96 meters squared. The length is 12 meters, the width 8 meters. The area formula of a rectangle says length times width, so 12 times 8 is 96. Question 2. Find the length of one side of this square. Time's up. The answer is 10 centimeters. If the area is 100, we need a number when we multiply it by itself that gives us 100. And that number is 10. 10 times 10 is 100. Number 3, find the area. You have 5 seconds. Time's up. The answer is 4 meters squared. The area formula says length times width, so we have 8 times 0.5 is another way of saying 1/2. So half times 8, or a half of 8, is 4. 4 meters squared. Last question. Find the length. Time's up. Did you get it? If the area equals length times width, but we already have the area of 60 centimeters squared and we have a width of 5, then we divide 60 by 5 to give us 12 centimeters. And now you've solved the mystery of how to calculate the area of a rectangle. Great job.